Let's just talk about the difference between clean energy and renewable energy. Obviously, renewable energy, we're talking about solar energy, we're talking about water, geothermal issues, and then you look at gas, which is viewed as clean. And we actually have gas finds on the south coast of South Africa, which is obviously quite exciting.
It is quite exciting. Thank you very much for having me this afternoon. Well, gas is what we are talking about, and clean energy, it is what we are about. Clean energy, the difference between clean and renewable energy is that clean energy emits less emissions into the atmosphere. It is much more available in abundance, and it is much more cost effective for the African market because your cost per megawatt, it is what matters the most. You can't charge people higher prices and expect them to pay, which can have huge inflationary impact. So you want to be able to deliver a product that is well priced.
Okay, we're focusing on coal. We also focus on nuclear quite extensively in South Africa, and I know that you know, your company is talking about becoming the premier independent power producer in South Africa. Some would argue that this, of course, still remains to be seen, given the fact that perhaps policy is being now relooked with regards to independent power producers selling energy into the grid. How are you going to overcome some of these challenges that you might face? Or are you feeling optimistic?
I am feeling very optimistic about that. If you look at the Integrated Resource Plan of 2010, it talks about natural gas supplying at least 5% of the energy needs out of South Africa, and it is preferring indigenous gas. And the West Coast, which is where our assets are based, it is where we're going to be supplying the gas into the South African market. So we're very bullish. Recently, on the 20th of March, the Department of Energy just closed the first round of the request of information for interested parties who are interested in supplying energy to the South African market using natural gas, coal and cogeneration, and we're one of the parties who responded positively in terms of that. So there is a very good positive political will from government looking into that, and the energy is screaming for independent power producers like ourselves to come in and fill in that space.
It's actually quite interesting that you mentioned cogeneration. A lot of companies coming out for quite some time over the last few years, Tongaat Hewlett being one of them, saying that for some time now they actually wanted to come and, you know, produce electricity, but they weren't able to do that. Do you think the private sector is now going to come to the party and start producing you know, electricity on this platform, and that it is going to benefit the consumer extensively? How do you see this playing out?
The signs are there. The will from government is there, and they're actually doing something about it. Even though the will might move slower, it is definitely getting there. It is not a matter of if, but the signs that we see is that it's a matter of certainty. So yes, private sector will be able to supply cogeneration power. It's just a matter of when.
So let's talk about the doubling of power generation within South Africa to 80 gigawatts by 2025. This is obviously going to be, you know, coming through from not only coal, nuclear, renewable and clean energy. What kind of mix do you foresee? Because we are planning to diversify our energy mix, and some say it's not being done quick enough. Can it be done by 2025?
It can be done. As long as private sector is part of the equation, it can be done. One thing that you know is that capital is always efficient, and as long as there's a demand and the regulatory framework is conducive for private sector to participate in, that objective can be met. And to answer your second question, the kind of mix that I am seeing, it is a mix that will come from the products that are properly priced into the market. Those are the products that are going to win. I don't have a crystal ball to determine which ones of those are going to be, but that is how I would see the mix panning out.
Okay, let's just talk about the offshore natural gas operations. When we say that it could actually benefit the consumers down the line and business, because obviously energy playing a very large component, what kind of price increases do you expect in South Africa? And do you think that if we do tap into these resources extensively and effectively, that it could actually bring the cost of electricity down?
Over a period of time, definitely, because remember, when it comes to natural gas, your cost of infrastructure gets amortized over a period of time, and you've got abundance of natural gas. So in real terms, your electricity prices will start leveling down, and it will benefit the consumer in a very great way.
When do you expect this to happen?
We expect our plant to, on a best case scenario, to be up and running by 2017 in order to apply our first set of megawatts to the consumer.